Welcome. You're here for the brand new presentation. You can see on this title slide, there's a link for the slides. Of course, they're on the website as well, but if you wanted to access them now, it's tinyurl.com/brandu2018 now. And the handout, it'll be on the website later, but it's not up yet. If you want it sooner, it's tinyurl.com/by2018 now. So with that, testing. I like to do the tech difficulties in the first part of the presentation, because that way we get them over with. All right, so let's see if we can make these slides move. Let's go to present again. Perfect. Okay, so hi, my name is Rebecca Andersen. I am a career director at the UC Berkeley School of Information. To give you a little background, this is a piece of branding, right? And this is the way a lot of people introduce themselves. So what's wrong with this? What did I just do? What dysfunctional belief did I just fall into? You are your career. What's another one? That you're going to remember. Come on, man. Title. I just define myself by my job title. Now, many people in your career are going to try to put you in the box of your job title. And part of my work with students is having them step out of that box of that job title and make it a little bit more expansive. So let me try this again. And my next iteration here is not going to be perfect, but we're always a work in progress, and we're always iterating. So I'm a career coach and a community builder. I use design thinking to help people connect to meaningful work. Right now, I'm doing that at UC Berkeley, working with graduate students. I also work with community members at Extension and through a Golden Gate Mothers Group. A little bit more expansive. So with that, I'm going to get right into branding. We might have to do this a couple times, but we'll work it out. It could be the internet. Let me download really quick. I'm so sorry about this. All right. Okay, so here you have some quotes right here. My God, am I underwhelmed? Consumers seem genuinely baffled by why they might need it. An utter disappointment and abysmal failure. Insanely great, it is not. What product are we talking about right here? Shout it out loud, because we have a lot of people. I'm not going to repeat that one, but interesting idea. Okay, what product are we talking about from the last 20 years? Personal computer, iPhone. It's the iPad. This is the iPad. When the iPad was first released, it was universally panned. Of course, as you all know, it became a huge success. Many of us have multiple iPads at home. Some of us have iPads for just our kids. That first year, 2011, when the iPad came out, Apple made so much money that they had $100 billion in the bank. Just cash in the bank. If they wanted to become a bank, they would have been in the top 5 banks in the world by how much money they had. So why was this such a huge success? Branding. Well, good guess. But what about this branding? Because other companies had a brand as well. What about Apple's brand made you, even though you saw this, made you go and buy it? Loyalty. What else? Made it that you'd be a certain type of person if you had this. What's that? Recognizable around the world. They connected it to your emotion. All of these things. At the end of the day, Apple didn't really make it about just themselves, right? They made it about you. And somebody said loyalty. It was a brand you knew. It was a brand you could trust. You kind of knew what to expect. Something cool, something that would make you cool, so something that you knew that you needed even though you weren't really sure why you needed it. It was all about branding. If you remember these old commercials, I'm a Mac, I'm a PC, I love this commercial. And when I talk to students, I'm so sad that they never saw this commercial. In fact, sometimes they're like, what's a commercial? But see, I can use these jokes here. I can't use them there. But it was all about branding. So, branding is a person's gut feeling about a product and a service. Branding is not just reality. It's not just what you think, what Apple thinks they're putting out there. It's also the perception of what other people see and how they're filtering it. And the trick is, the magic is, if you can get that reality and that perception to align, it's just like connecting the dots in our keynote this morning. If you can get the what you do and the who you are and the what you believe to connect, that's where the magic happens. And that's where your brand really resonates with people because it's authentic and it's meaningful, and it's also where you really start to resonate with your own life. All right, so that's easy. How do you do the successful brand? Super easy. It's 1, 2, 3. It's easy as 1, 2, 3 here. So I'm going to give you 3 steps. There's more, but we're going to go through 3 today. First one, be better than the competition. You've heard this before, right? You've heard this before? Don't do this. It's not a good idea. We learned about that a little bit in the keynote. Better is fragile. Better can be trampled in a nanosecond. Better is a hamster wheel because there's always somebody better. I fall into this a lot because I'm one of those kids that grew up in that era where the self-esteem and the ribbons and you have to get the A. And so finally when I was older and I came to UC Berkeley, I started to learn about grit. That I didn't have any grit, turns out. Son of a gun. So sometimes when I'm a career coach, so I'm here and I'm listening to these presentations, and the first thought goes in my mind is, oh man, they're so much better than me. But then I have to remember, better is the hamster wheel. Instead, I need to focus in on what makes me me. So that's your first step, is to be different and be you. And it's actually one of the hardest steps. But there's a couple freeing things here. And one is, there's not one right you. I change who I am all the time. That introduction I wrote that last night, and it took me an hour. Because I was like, do I want to introduce myself as an organizational consultant? Do I want to introduce myself as this? I'm many different people. So part of this is trying things on and having these tried out experiences. Let me give you a couple tools and ideas. First is, just keep in mind, individuality is this one place where you have no competition. So like I said, I'm a career coach. There's a lot of career coaches. If I just try to be the best career coach, there's going to be competition for that. But there's no other career coach that is me, that has a background in environmental science, that has been at Cal for 11 years, that does a little bit of design thinking and is also a mom, and so that's part of my identity. I have a lot of pieces of me, and nobody has all those pieces. So if you embrace all those things, there's no competition in that. All right, so in your packet, the handout is really a supplement to this. It's not really something we're going to go through. But your handout does have this, and I just kind of wanted to point it out because this is a very traditional way of looking at branding, is considering your beliefs and purpose and going through your values, kind of what do you believe in, what do you stand for. And for each of these things, there's also exercises you can do with the career staff at UC Berkeley. So they have a values workshop, your passions, and that passion's not so much like what is that one thing you're passionate about, but what kind of things are you curious about? What gets you a little bit excited? If you were in the workshop right before this one, there was energy engagement mapping. What gives you energy? Where do you feel energized? Your communication style. How do you interact with the world? Do you like crowds? Do you hate crowds? Do you like one-on-one? Do you like written communication? Do you hate email? Communication style is a big piece of branding because it's how you put yourself out there and how you're interacting. And then lastly is strengths. What are you good at? And you can think about what you're good at is when are you in flow? So what's the concept of flow? I'm sure a lot of people will have heard this before. Yeah?
Forget your surroundings while you work, you're fully focused.
Forget your surroundings while you work, you're fully focused. It doesn't take an effort. You're losing track of time. You're not stopping every 5 seconds, oh, I need to get a coffee. I need to go chat with my coworker. Instead, you're just heads down and just losing track, and this time just ticks by. So think about those times of when you're in flow. Now, this is the difficult part, is figuring out who you are. But again, there's no right answer, and you can change this. And part of it is, if you go through this later in your handout, put about a bunch of ideas. There's not one thing here, there's 25 things. And then afterwards, look at that and look at the written word and see what resonates with you. And we're going to use our design thinking mindsets. So be really curious. If there's a strength that you kind of wanted to have or you think you might like, but you don't know a lot about it, it's not something you're using right now in your work, see if you can have a tried out conversation with somebody or a little experience. Radical collaboration. Branding is about other people, right? So we should talk to other people. So after you write some of this down, float it by somebody. And it doesn't even have to be somebody at work. It could be a friend, could be a parent, could be anybody. Somebody else that can look at that and say, yeah, I could see that how that's you. Or, oh, when you're talking about this, I see you get really excited over here. See what they notice. And then lastly is a bias toward action. So with branding, and I see this especially with my students, because my students are trying to get jobs. And we may all be trying to get jobs, but they're really trying to get jobs because they have no job. And they have a lot of loans. So they're like, I'm going to hold my brand, and I don't want to share it until it's perfect, because if I share it, then Google will know that I'm not perfect, and they won't hire me. You got to put it out there so you can see how it reads. You got to try it. I update my LinkedIn weekly. Every time I have to talk to students about LinkedIn, I look at my own and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. You just iterate. Just keep trying. We're a work in progress. And it's by trying and putting it out there that you can see how it works. So don't worry about being perfect. Just start trying some things, and then you're going to make little progress. All right. So you have to stand out with your branding. This is the last time I'm going to do this to you. No, you don't. A lot of branding books. I just read one on Monday that was saying you have to stand out. You have to be different. Yes, be different. But don't worry about standing out. Think of it more as mindfulness. So I'm me. I'm comfortable in me. And I'm going to be me here. I'm going to be me on LinkedIn. I'm going to be me at work. I'm going to put those things out that are me. And if they resonate with you and you have an opportunity, then we're going to work together. And if they don't, it doesn't, that's okay. Because there's always another door of opportunity. You don't have to stand out. It's not a competition. Instead, you just have to embrace who you are and put it out there. I think that's kind of what they mean actually by standing out, is let people in. So instead of stand out, it's just embrace who you are. Look at this differently and think about just letting people in a little bit. All right, so that was principle number 1. Let's look at it in action just a little bit. So here is a LinkedIn profile of somebody I work with, Jane Allen. How is she putting who she is out there? Let's get a couple people.
Her photo?
Her photo, definitely her photo is putting out there. And actually, photos make a huge difference on LinkedIn. Her tagline, that she's working at PwC, it's got her title there. How else? Let me get here and then here, yeah.
Well, these videos show kind of what she cares about, the fact that she's doing these, amazing activities.
Yeah, so Jane is a partner with PricewaterhouseCoopers, a really big consulting firm. I think she's actually a principal. Yeah, she's a big-time partner. And the items that she chose to attach are about a hunger challenge where she raises money for ending hunger. 2 different hunger challenges, actually. And I don't know if you can see the little pictures there, but it's her in running gear. She loves to run, and she loves charity, and so she's putting that out there. Let's get one more person. Did you have another one?
I was just going to say, even the picture of the grapes.
Yeah, the pictures of the grapes behind here. So you usually think consultant should be books. Or she's a cybersecurity consultant. I don't know if that says it right in there. Forensics technology. Something cyber, like circuitry. But instead she's got wine grapes. That's something that's her. That's unique. It's a little thing that's personal. So think about yourself and how you can put those little things out there. Not even in a really hard way, but a little soft way. Mm-hmm.
But it also combines in with her statement in the front.
The statement up at the top. Oh yeah, that's mine. I put that there. But she could. You're like, she's living it. That's true. All right. So yes. She's showing who she's stepping outside of that title box. Part of the reason we stay in the title box is because that's what the world wants us to do. Another part we do that is because it's easy. LinkedIn actually makes it super easy because it's the default. Another reason we do it is because I don't want to say fear, but a little fear. Like, we're afraid of showing a personal side of us. And I had that for a long time because I look a little young. Soon I'm not going to be able to say that, but I think I still can say it. And for a long time in my career, I thought I needed to look older so that people would take me seriously. And I had to always throw out that, like, oh, I've been here for 3 years, 5 years. And eventually I just let that go. And it's okay. I'm informal. Yeah, I like looking young. I like acting a little young. That's me. And I show that through some of my LinkedIn, and she's showing some of these pieces of her through her LinkedIn. Now, of course, it's a little easier to show that if you are a principal at PwC. True story. But we can get there in baby steps as well. All right, so I'm going to get on to my next principle. First one is be different, be you. Now, who knows what these are? They're brain scans. You're smart. Okay, so these are brain scans. Now, if you're a radiologist and you are analyzing brain scans, you are often sitting in a dark room, no windows, with a computer. And you are just sitting there analyzing. Many, many brain scans. It can get monotonous. It can get tiring. So in 2008, there was a young radiologist, Joseph Turner, in Israel, who decided he wanted to improve this a little bit. He wanted to make it better. He wanted to improve the outcomes, and he also wanted to make the work a little bit better. So he ran an experiment at the hospital. He recruited some radiologists, and he recruited 300 patients. For those 300 patients, when they were scanned, after they had their scans, and when their scans were being analyzed by the radiologist, the scan would pull up on the screen, and so would a picture of the patient. And afterwards, you can kind of guess where this is going. The scan came up, the picture came up, the radiologist would mark their findings of the scan, and then they would report in a survey if they felt more empathetic toward the patient. Yes, they did. And if they took more time with the scan, yes, they did. So awesome, cool, great. But then the real magic happened 3 months later. Because in radiology, if you've ever gotten a scan, I've gotten a scan before. And in my scan, there wasn't a huge thing that they found that was wrong, but it was an abnormality. It was like somebody took an eraser and just erased a little piece. And what my radiologist found was that erased little piece is an early indicator of MS. Now that's called an incidental finding, because they were not looking for that, but they found it anyways. And it's those incidental findings that make a really good radiologist, finding something you weren't looking for. Now out of those 300 scans, there were 81 incidental findings in that first go-around with the pictures. Turner took those 81 and he put them through again. No pictures this time. What percentage of those incidental findings were found the second time around with no picture? None? Well, you're not thinking. They did bad. Okay, who thinks under 50%? All right, who thinks 60%. 75%? 20% were found. Yeah. They missed 80% the second time around. All right. So this story could tell us two things, probably many things, but two things. One, make friends with your radiologist. Fact. All right, what's the other thing this can tell us that's more related to branding?
Make it personal.
Make it personal. Yeah. Because people forget, you've seen this before. People forget what you did, but people do not forget the way you made them feel. You might forget that I'm a career director. Maybe you won't forget how I made you feel in this presentation. Yeah?
Raise your hand and ask questions and let people know your name. My name is Natalie.
Nice. That's right. Raise your hand and ask questions. Let people know your name. Put yourself out there. So putting the personal, making it personal, showing humanity. Showing pieces of you that are wine grapes. Showing the personal pieces. Being personal. And then the other piece of this that we haven't really touched on is helping others. So with branding, again, it's not just you, it's your audience, right? So when you're looking at branding, to get back to that, you have to consider your audience. Who are they? What does your target audience want? Who is your target audience? Who are you trying to target this message toward? How can you help them overcome obstacles? And what will it look like if they reach that success? Paint that vision for them. Okay, so I have Yoda here. And the reason is because a lot of times we think of ourselves as the hero. I always wanted to be Luke Skywalker. I was convinced that I had the Force. I love Star Wars. And so, especially early in my career, I think I often went in as Luke Skywalker. We can change this program. Why are we doing things this way? Let's do things differently. But I learned what I really need to be sometimes is Yoda. Or aspire to be Yoda, because really, who is Yoda? But aspire to be Yoda. And that's because what people want is not a hero, usually. Usually what they want is a guide. Because we all think of ourselves as the hero. Or we should. We're all the protagonist in our journey. But in branding, you kind of have to think, okay, if I wasn't the protagonist here, if I'm not the hero, who is the hero? And how can I be the guide that helps them succeed? This is a little complicated. But just think, how can I help them reach their goal? Who are they? And what are they trying to do? And how can I help? So let's see it in action. Tagline mine. Wendy here. This is a more traditional looking LinkedIn. She's probably about 6 to 8 years out of undergrad. So what is she doing here that's making other people the hero? How is she helping other people? Her tagline is fighting financial crimes with machine learning and behavioral analytics. And then in her experience, she talks about, what expertise she has, that she thrives in a fast-paced environment, meets challenges with persistence and creativity, love telling a good story. It's fairly traditional, but there's one big thing she's doing. Yeah?
She's helping people find the problem.
She's helping people find the problem. Her title is a product manager. That's what she does for a financial services company. But she doesn't have her title as this tagline here. She has fighting financial crimes with machine learning and behavioral analytics. She's saying, here's how I can help you solve your problem. Here's a problem that you might have, and I can help you solve it. And then she's talking a little bit in her description about how she can do that and what the future might look like. This is pretty traditional. There's nothing crazy here. But a little tweak to make it not about her and about the audience makes it resonate a little bit more. Somebody could read this and say, I need somebody to fight financial crime. And one of the cool things is she's been a PM, a product manager. She's also been a data scientist. And this is opening that box so that she can be multiple things. She's not putting herself in one area. All right, so that's a little example. All right, our third thing here. dots. So your brain is trained to notice differences. Little blue differences there, tiny. When there's something different, when there's a pattern and something changes that pattern, your brain releases dopamine. Dopamine is a drug that helps you act. It's what gives you that adrenaline rush. It makes you happy and makes you want to do some things. You also get a little hit of dopamine when something you expect to happen happens. So if you remember the old dial-up internet, you've got mail. Ooh, I have mail. Nowadays, people are like, I have mail. Maybe not as much dopamine anymore. But the point is, you get dopamine if something is different, and you get dopamine if something is a little bit expected. So your trick with branding is get the double hit. Here's another example. Old Spice. You're familiar with Old Spice? My dad wears Old Spice. Yeah. My husband wears this Old Spice. So Old Spice is something you know. It's been around. I should look up and see how long it's been around. But it's many, many, many years, right? 50 years, more than 50 years. Old Spice has been around. You know it. You recognize this red container. They do something different with branding over the last couple of years where it's still recognizable, but they changed it up. So just because this is super funny, this first one is Fiji. It smells like palm trees, sunshine, and freedom. Citron is newer and fresher than limes and life success. And this last one, Amber, is newer and fresher than tree sap and danger. So they're getting a double hit of dopamine here. It's different, so you're like, what is that? And it also is recognizable. So how this relates to branding? Always be innovating. Always be changing. And actually, I don't like innovating as a word because if somebody says to me, be innovative, I'm like, I am not creative. I don't have that bone. So innovation can be a little bit stressful. Think of it as always be iterating. Always be trying something. You want your materials, your resume, your LinkedIn, to look like a LinkedIn profile, to look like a resume. At the same time, be a little different. Do something a little crazy, see how it reads. Does it read well? Change it. Always be innovating. Another way you can look at this is, the way my mom says it, which is, check yourself before you wreck yourself. So, put something out and check it. See what people think. Get feedback. Innovation is a lot about feedback. All right, here's an example. So there's 2 resumes here. You can't read these resumes. That's okay. You're not supposed to. There's 2 resumes. Which one, just on this first glance, looks better? Right. It's right. Ooh, I'm glad. This is the exact same content. No content is different on these resumes, but the right looks better. And it's not because it has blue on it, although that is cool, but it's organized in a consistent way. You know this is a resume, right? You can't read it, but you know it's a resume. But at the same time, the one on the right looks like it was thoughtfully designed, and it's easier to follow. So here's another place where you can add branding to your documents. A lot of times we just think of branding as taglines or personal summaries, and that's what we have to put in. But branding is also about the user experience and how things look and how people feel when they look at it, when they scan it. When you're putting resumes in for a job can get 10 resumes, it can get tens of hundreds of resumes. So have a resume. There's no reason not to have a resume that looks a little bit like the right. And there's good templates out there, and there's a workshop, I think it's actually during this time. You missed it. Wrong room. It'll be taped, the slides are online. All right, so always be innovating with your resume. Okay, here's another example. This one's a LinkedIn example. Some of you might know Virginia. She used to work at Cal. So what are a couple things she's doing here that are a little bit innovative or crazy? Slightly annoying question asker. Now, Virginia is a recruiter now in the tech market. So if you are, an accountant, you might not want to put slightly annoying question asker. Consider your audience. But in tech, the fact that she says natural-born matchmaker, slightly annoying question asker, relentless problem solver, and tough love distributor, that plays real well in tech.
I love the pop of color on her lip. It is not a traditional color. And
Yeah.
to me, I think she can kind of look at things differently and find something that others may not find.
Yeah, so she said she loves the pop of color on the lip. It's not traditional, it stands out, and it says that she might look for something that other people might not find. All that from a photo. And it does come out. And photos are particularly hard because we could say, I get this a lot from students, I should be able to put myself out there. People should know how cool I am. It's just not the way the world works. So are there biases that come in with photos? Yeah, there are, 100%. Can you work some of that to your advantage? Yeah, you can work some of it to your advantage, and you should, because otherwise you're leaving it on the table. It's a tricky thing, photos, to talk about. But part of that also is embracing who you are and putting your authentic self. Okay, what are some other cool things about this? Yeah?
Well, the photo itself does not look like a professional photo. It looks more playful than that.
Yeah.
There's also the fact that it's round and it's next to this picture of buttons that are round. So it's artistic and creative and catches your eye.
Her photo's a little different. It's not the traditional professional headshot. And this photo around it is a little different too. And I don't know if you noticed, but on the top there's a button that says University of California. And a lot of UC folks that go to private industry think, I have to hide the fact that I was at UC for so long. Or I can never go to private industry because all my skills are just UC. I've said that. But she's embracing it. She's saying, yeah, that's a piece of me. That's a piece that I'm bringing. So there's a lot of interesting innovation here. And again, you can change it. Try it and change it. All right, so we have some time left. Let's do some stuff. Yeah?
You mentioned, always be innovating, always be changing. And today we see that a positive brand can quickly turn into a negative brand.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do the reverse though? Because people tend to have they tend to want to see you a certain way.
Yeah, this is a common one. Okay, so always be changing. But what if you have a brand that's out there and people want to? What if people want to pigeonhole you? Kind of, right? What if you have maybe it's not even a negative brand, but it's a one that you don't want necessarily? How do you change it? Let me throw it back on you. How do you think you change that? What's that? Change it. Just do it. Okay, say more about that.
Well, think about all the aspects of your brand and make changes to them.
So that's part of it, is just change it. And I'll give you another personal example, because that's part of my brand. I often introduce myself at parties as somebody who, I run career services for graduate students at Berkeley. I don't introduce myself as an executive career coach or as a career coach, because a chip on my shoulder is that I don't do that exactly, because I work with mostly students. And then I was thinking about this yesterday, and I was like, what? There's no reason that I can't go to a party or go to this conference and say, I'm a career coach. Because if I say that, you're going to believe it. So a small piece of this, that's not quite, there's bigger stuff around this, but a piece of this is just do it and just try it. How else can you change a pigeonholed brand? Get feedback. Mm-hmm. Why? Why do you see me this way? Why do you think I fit this brand? Get feedback. Mm-hmm.
Do that as part of your new brand. Make it, embrace it and make it public and really play it for all it's worth.
Play it for all it's worth. And what piece to play? Are you saying play the change?
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you, if you were this and now you're this, don't shy away from the old thing, but make that piece of it. There's a powerful sentence, and I think I wrote this in your handout, and it's something like, I was a blank, and now I'm a blank. No, I'm sorry. I was a blank, and that's why now I'm a great blank. Or I was a blank, and I used a lot of blank, and that's why I'm a great blank. I had a student who was a high school teacher, and she wanted to be a UX designer. She did not teach art. It was a big leap. She taught, I think, some sort of science class. So right on her portfolio, she answered the question that everybody had. She said, I was a teacher, and now I'm a UX designer. And here's what makes me great. Because people are going to ask that question. If you're making a change, people are going to wonder. They're going to want to know, what does an accountant know about design? Or whatever it is you're changing. So just answer the question. Answer it before they even ask it. Is it risky? A little bit. But it saves you from getting your resume just put in the trash can, probably. So embrace it. When I first started doing career work, I came from the environmental world, and I embraced that by telling people, I'm a career changer. I didn't say, I'm an environmental engineer, and I know nothing about this topic. I said, I made a crazy career shift, and I used to be in engineering, and that's why I'm going to help you, engineers, get jobs. So embrace it. It's hard to change a pigeonhole brand, but part of it is innovating. Also, if there are things that you don't like doing, if you're an accountant and you don't want to do that anymore, I don't know why I keep using that example. I don't like numbers, I guess. If there are things that you don't like doing and you did them for 10 years, I'm going to give you permission right now to take those off your resume. Just remove them. If there's something that you never want to do again in your entire life, take it off your resume. And that's not just me talking. Any career coach would tell you that. Take stuff off your resume that you don't want to do. That's a big piece of your brand, because if you're putting that out there, you could say you're a blank, but if all of your experience is this other thing, then you're going to look like the other thing. Have tried out experiences, have projects to start to work to make that change. I hope that answers the question a little bit. Yeah?
Seems like you could also include things that you didn't previously include about yourself, and then as you try to switch your brand, like volunteer work.
Yep.
Whatever it is that will just make you read a little different.
Yeah. See, we all have tangential things. So see what tangential things you can pull out. And a lot of times when we're writing things like our resume and our LinkedIn, we focus on the things that we did the most. But you know what? Do you know what I do most of my day? Email. And nowhere on my resume or LinkedIn does it say, I do hours and hours of email. So when you're describing your job on your resume, on LinkedIn, on wherever it is, you don't have to focus on the task that you do the most often. Focus on the task that gives you energy, that you want to do more of. And focus on the task that had great impact or solved a problem, because it's that solving a problem that people really care about, because that makes them the hero. I'll say one more thing about this. This is a little off topic, but this is, I think, really important too for resumes. If you want to brand your resume and get out of the traditional is people write responsible for, and then they say some things. Responsible for helping students register for classes, blah, blah, blah. Responsible for ensuring safety at the lab, blah, blah, blah. Instead of responsible for focuses on a specific task, a thing you did, and that thing you did may not transfer to the new role. It might, sometimes it does, sometimes you need that. But oftentimes the thing we did over here is not exactly what we want to do over here. So instead of responsible for, think of what you did plus cool factor. And the cool factor is the important part. And what I mean by cool factor, I mean, who did you work with? What problem did you solve? This is that quantifiable stuff. How much money did you save? How much money did you spend? Because that's pretty cool too. How many people saw the thing? How many people did this affect? How many users? You could put numbers of students. What interesting, unique skills did you use? Maybe you used Photoshop or Excel, advanced Excel. So don't just focus on the task, what you did, but highlight that cool factor piece. For every bullet on your resume, you should have a what and a cool factor. And if you're just putting that what out there, you're missing the branding piece. Okay. So we need to put this together a little bit. You should have a note card. And we have more note cards that we can pass out if you do not have a note card. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a try it out experience. We're going to have a business card branding challenge. So you have a note card. And on your note card, we're going to have you write a little branding sentence, kind of a sentence. branding words. And they're going to, I'm going to explain this a little bit so you don't have to go right to writing. You're going to have a what, and the what is what you do, a thing you do, or a thing maybe that you want to do more of. A how, which is a how do you do that thing? How do you put it out there in the world? Maybe the how is a special skill, maybe it's an adjective. Who do you do it for? And then finally, what impact or problem does this solve for people? So I'm going to give you 2 examples. Oh, and then you have the wild card, the heart. I almost forgot about that. And the heart is it's the random piece. What's a little piece of heart? What's a little piece of yourself that maybe doesn't relate to any of these things, but is just like something about you? It's a hobby, something you do in your free time, something you're passionate about. So here's an example. I'm a career coach. That could be a what for me, what I do. One of the ways I do that is through design thinking. That's my how. How do I do career coaching? Through design thinking. Who do I do it for? I specialize in working with folks who are in technology and return-to-work moms. Now, I should mention here, you might have a lot of who's and a lot of different who's. And so maybe if you were doing this later, you'd have different sentences for these different audiences, because for each audience, you want kind of a tailored message. So I focused on 2 here. And the impact and problem I saw was I helped people connect to meaningful work. Maybe one more example. I made my husband do this last night. And so his what is I thought he was going to say software engineer, but he said my what is I build scalable systems. And his how is he uses engineering, systems, and people best practices. Who does he do it for? Tech companies. And what impact does he want to make? He wants to improve life in significant and measurable ways for real people. Now, quick note here, you might read this and think, this seems a little generic. I did it first. But there's pieces here that are really meaningful to him and his industry. So improving measurable ways for real people, he wants to work on products that really affect consumers. He works at Uber right now, and that's really important to him. No matter what you think about Uber, he feels like he's making a difference for riders and drivers. And he's really into building scalable systems that go from 10 people to a gazillion people. So this is meaningful to his industry and for him. And his piece of heart is that he's a dad. Funny, I didn't put that I was a mom. Whoops. I put that I was a career changer. We have a lot of different hearts. For him, the fact that he's a dad is super unique because he works at Uber with a lot of younger folks that don't have kids. There's actually an employee resource group for his category. If you're over 40, you're an Uber sage. He's a protected class, which his wife is happy about. Yeah, okay, so what you're gonna do now is I'm gonna give you a minute here to put your what, how, who, and impact problem solved. Now, this is not your defining sentence that you're gonna take out of here and use for everything. It's a try-it-on sentence. So on your note card, have a what, a how, who, and a problem solved and a heart. I'm gonna give you a little time, and then we're gonna use these. Okay, we're gonna have more time for this. So I think about half the room is probably not done, and that's okay. Because we're going to use these in like 3 slides. So you can keep writing a little bit. In the meantime, I'm going to introduce kind of what we're going to be doing a little bit with this. And getting us over to that slide. All right. So we're going to do a teeny bit of networking. Networking. Who loves networking? There's always a couple people. A lot of people don't like networking. I'm a traditional extrovert, and I don't like networking that much. I know. People think of networking as a little sleazy. What's some other reasons we might not like networking? Let's get like 3. It's awkward.
Seems fake.
Seems fake. This guy doesn't seem fake. I don't know what you're talking about. can seem really self-serving. And that's a big one, actually, because we often network when we want something. People say, you want a new job? You should network. So it can feel really self-serving. So we're going to use our design thinking on networking. And we're going to reframe it and look at it from a different way. And that is not working of the technology. It only happened one more time, so that's not so bad. Networking is not asking or taking. It's just asking for directions. So if you work on campus, you probably get people asking you for directions. My office sits right in front of the front door to South Hall, so I get asked for directions a lot to the bathroom. Do I find it a little annoying? Maybe sometimes. Am I ever mad at somebody for asking me for directions to the bathroom? I'm never mad about that. I'm never annoyed at them. Sometimes I'm annoyed that my office is located right there. People don't mind when you ask directions. They might not have the right directions. They might say, oh, sorry, I'm not sure where that crazy hall is. But they don't mind you asking. It's just asking for directions, just getting somebody's story. If you approach networking, especially in job changing, as, can I have a job? The answer is often, no, I don't have a job. Or, sure, apply online, because I have to follow the HR practices. So as soon as you put that whiff of like, can I have a job out there, that's where it gets really tricky. And it can start to feel bad on both ends. Because people like to help. So if you're saying, can I have a job, chances are they're on the other side saying, oh, I wish I could give you one, but I don't have one. But if you instead make it, I'm looking for some directions. I'm exploring these different career paths. Can I hear your story? People like to talk about their story because people often are very fascinated with themselves. So if you're like, I'd love to hear about your career journey. You're like, I would love to share that. Just gathering stories. Also, coffee. Helping other people, giving a little back helps out. Networking is also just saying hello. A lot of times the problem with networking, it is this fact of like we want something. And that's always like behind there. But the thing is with networking is you never know where the door is going to open. You never know who it is who's going to have the opportunity or who's going to introduce you to that one person or have that one job. You can't predict these things. So instead, what I follow is this model of planned happenstance. So planned happenstance is all about have a lot of tried-out experiences, talk to a lot of people. And by a lot of people, I don't mean 4. I mean like 24 people. And get their story and just hear about things. And like Kathy was saying earlier in the keynote, you'll start to learn the lingo. You'll start to sound like you belong. And before you know it, bam, something is going to happen. A job will come up on the website. Somebody will say, oh, hey, we met a couple weeks ago, and I actually need a volunteer for this thing. Are you interested? Some kind of opportunity is going to be there, and you'll be in the right place, right time. So planned happenstance is all about don't just say hello. Don't have an agenda behind it because you never know. I meet with people all the time when I'm doing networking, and I don't know how they're going to be useful because you can't predict that. Just meet people, get some directions, and before you know it, you'll want to go to that place that they were giving you directions to. All right, so we're going to try this really quick because we have a little bit of time left. So you have some cards. They may say a what, a how, a who, and a problem solved on them. Or they have a piece of that because you've gotten started. You also might be looking for some directions. So let's see, we have 6 minutes. This room is a very packed room. Instead of standing up, I'm going to have you find somebody around you that is not somebody you know. And if that does require you to stand up, then stand up. Find somebody, we're going to work together on this. Find somebody around you that you don't know. Introduce yourself with your little card. Try that on. See how it feels. Just see how it feels. And then ask for some directions. What are you curious about today? What are you curious about in your career? What is a question that you had in the back of your mind? And we're going to see what happens. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so go find somebody you don't know. We just have a couple minutes. Okay, 20 seconds. How did that go? Going pretty good. Did anyone find some directional help? Yes. One of the things to learn is that there's often somebody sitting next to you that has some directions. You never know who knows someone who works in that place that you want to work. So look around you. Try things out. All right, final notes. Make it easy for folks to understand you. You all have a brand, and you all have a thing that you want to be. If you put it out there in a thoughtful way and think about it, and it does take a little work. You know, you have to sit down with your LinkedIn and your resume. You have to write down some things. But if you put that out and it's consistent, people are going to understand the you right here. Not everyone is going to like the you right there, but they will understand it, and your people will find you. Capture the goldfish. Okay, so Microsoft did a study. Goldfish have an attention span of 9 seconds. They didn't find that out, that's just a thing. Microsoft did a study on your attention spans. It is 8 seconds. You have less attention span than the goldfish. So put yourself out there in a really easy to understand way. I've been using this slide for a while. There was actually a study that just went out that debunked this entire thing. But it's kind of interesting. So they debunked the fact that you don't have that long of attention span, and actually there's another study saying that goldfish are really smart, whatever. So there's 2 takeaways here. One is, put yourself out there in an easy to understand way. And the other thing is, don't worry if folks can't understand you. I am a verbose person. My LinkedIn is not short. If you see my resume, you would say there's too much on there. That's okay. It doesn't have to resonate with everybody. I'm looking for my tribe. All right, 2 more slides. Branding, or careers I should say, can look like this. Crazy traffic and freeway, where do I go? People think branding is going to help them get to that place they need to be, enlightenment. It is not. Because there's not just one place for you, there's not just one brand. Instead, what I'm trying to do is open it up. There's a lot of places you could go. I don't know what your next job is. You don't know what your next job is. But there's some possibilities, and branding can help you figure out, maybe I'll go over there, maybe I'll go over there. All right, thank you very much. It was fun.